Well, folks, some really sad stuff here. The terrorist organization known as Hamas that currently occupies the Gaza Strip has once again violated the ceasefire agreement with Israel and shown how truly sick these people are. They're sick in the head. Hamas recently released the bodies of what they claim were 4 people they took hostage on October 7th, 2023. An 83-year-old man, and then a young mother and 2 of her children. And then we actually have some video of the young mother and 2 of their children when they were taken hostage. And it has been determined that one of the bodies that they returned was not the mother of the 2 children and has been identified as a unidentified Gaza woman, not the mother of those 2 children. Also, overnight or over the weekend, another potential blow to the ceasefire, a series of explosions struck 3 parked trucks a series of explosions struck 3 parked empty buses in central Israel. So, lot to get in here, but before we get into it, if you're new to the channel here, drop down below, hit that subscribe button, make sure you never miss another episode or another video from us again in the future. Now, we got to take a couple steps back to kind of understand exactly where we are in this ceasefire. Obviously, we know there's a 3-phased approach to the ceasefire. Really, phase 1 is the release of the hostages from the Palestinian people and the people from Israel that are held hostage by the Palestinian people and by Hamas. Number 2 is basically, and this is kind of a broader, I'm not going in a ton of detail here, but Israel removes their troops, and they really kind of take their foot off the gas. And then number 3 was supposed to be a reconstruction phase. But right now, in phase number 1, Hamas agreed to, after they kind of got cold feet there for a little bit, agreed to return the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages, including 3 from the Bibas family. So it was the mother and her 2 sons. They were all 4, the husband, wife, and 2 children were all taken hostage on October 7th. The husband was held separately and was actually released, I believe, in February. And the mother and the 2 sons were both killed by Hamas. Supposedly, some forensic DNA, or after a look at the bodies of the children, potentially that they were strangled to death. We're talking about a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 10-month-year-old here. And so I believe on Friday or Saturday, the Israeli Defense Forces received the bodies of these hostages that were held and discovered that the mother, I believe her name is Shuri, was not the body that was delivered that said it was hers was not her body after doing some forensic testing on the bodies. Now, the bodies of the 2 children were positively identified as they are who they say they are. But like we said, the body of that who Hamas claims was this Shuri Bibas was an unidentified woman from Gaza, not the hostage that they took. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just gone after Hamas for this. It is absolutely ridiculous that they have breached this ceasefire here. He labeling it as a serious violation of the ceasefire terms, which I 100% agree. And on top of that, you want to talk about a serious violation? Let's talk about a series of explosions that took place, where 3 empty buses were parked in Israel. There were no injuries and no claims of responsibility, but the Israeli military said in response it will be beefing up its forces in the West Bank, raising the likelihood of further escalation in the area. Israel has been carrying out a broad military offensive in the occupied territory since the ceasefire took place. Israel has been carrying out broad military offensive, You know, we need to get over this ridiculous idea that there's ever going to be a 2-state solution. A 2-state solution requires that one of the states doesn't make it its life's mission to absolutely eradicate the other state. When you look at Hamas, their goal is to kill. They want all the Jewish people to come from around the world back to Israel, so then they can just kill them all in one place. It's not going to be harder for them to track them down. They can just kill them all in one place. Which Hamas, there will never be a 2-state solution with the Palestinian people, with Hamas. Because here's the thing. Here's a little secret that no one wants you to know about, that the media is not going to cover. Here we've got a video of the mother and these two children when they were being taken hostage here. It has come out. Hamas did not take the mother and the two children hostage. They did take the father hostage, but they did not take the mother and the two children hostage here. There were Palestinian people. The people who live in Gaza, who are Palestinian citizens, are the ones who took them hostage. This completely debunks what the mainstream media has to say, that, oh, the Palestinian people are good and it's just Hamas. Okay, well, let's hold an election in Gaza. Let's watch Hamas win 70% of the vote, because we all know, and it has very well been documented, that the people of Palestine, the people of Gaza, support what Hamas is doing. They support the eradication of all the Jewish people in this state. They don't want a two-state solution. They want a one-state solution where they completely eradicate all Jews from the Holy Land. Which is just, you talk about a serious violation. This isn't even Hamas right here. These are Palestinian people. And of course, politicians, the left, they're still going to claim that there are, and I'm sure there are some people who are Palestinian, who are in Gaza, who do not agree with what's going on and would like to live in a peaceful state. But the vast majority, and all Poland shows that data too, that the vast majority of Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip support Hamas and what they're doing. It's just as simple as that. You hate to break it to everyone who lives in this, in this utopian society in their head, that everybody on planet Earth has the same goals for peace and for us all to live in an economic union together and diplomatic union. And no, it's not. The goal of the Palestinian people and Hamas is to eradicate the state of Israel, to eradicate the Israeli people. We do not all have the same goals here. And there has to be a very clear distinction between what their goals are and what our goals are. Why are we sending humanitarian aid into these people who want to kill, who want to eradicate the Western society, Western culture? They want to eradicate Israel. Now, I'm not saying that Israel's perfect, and I'm definitely not saying that our relationship with Israel is not really just one-sided, because the United States does a lot to take care of Israel. They're a friend of our nation, but ultimately I think there's more that they could do. When we're outside of a time of war, I think there's more that they can do to be a better diplomatic and economic partner with the United States, just because of how much we do for them. But that's a whole other story, and I'm not saying everything they do is perfect, but obviously in this in this world here, where there's two sides of it. There's the Hamas Palestine side, and then there's the Israeli side. And if you have to seriously consider what side you're on, you need to get your head checked out. There's something wrong with you. It is very clear who's the aggressor here. It is very clear who are the ones who are promoting Western values, Western society. And there are clearly ones who want to live in the Stone Ages and just bomb crap. That's like, they just, and kill people. And that's just what they've done. And now, but kind of getting back to it, Hamas responded to these accusations that they returned the wrong body, saying that they were really surprised over it. Oh, get away with it with your crocodile tears. Like, what stop. You're surprised? You guys live in open sewage. You guys live in rubble. And yeah, it's like, I'm really not surprised that you mixed a body up. I'm surprised you guys even had a body to begin with. It's like, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But yeah, and they attributed the error to Israel, saying, oh, because Israel keeps bombing us, or they were bombing us. Well, if you wouldn't have committed one of the most large-scale terrorist attacks we've seen in decades, maybe, just maybe, there wouldn't be an offensive against you. Because remember, you were the ones who killed 1,200 Israelis, took hundreds of them hostage, have held them hostage, tortured them, strangled them. You strangled a 4-year-old and a 10-month-year-old to death. How sick are you? You should be eradicated from the face of this earth. And I don't care what anybody says. Hamas and anybody who supports Hamas and what they're doing must be eradicated. Go the hell away. It is sick what they do. And then they parade these victims on stage, make them sit and basically thank their captors. While you have a picture right here with Netanyahu, who looks like a vampire with blood dripping down his shirt, basically saying that the blood is on Netanyahu's hands. And then it says in Arabic and in English, it says the war criminal Netanyahu and his Nazi army killed them with missiles from Zionist warplanes. Give me a break. You strangled them to death, you piece of shit. You guys should be eradicated from the face of this earth. You are terrorist. And you should be treated like terrorists. I don't know why so many people in the Western world don't want to treat terrorists the way a terrorist should be treated. It is sick. But the bodies of the two children were returned by Hamas. Now, obviously, there haven't been an exact circumstance for their death, but initial evidence that we have seen, not saying it's 100% true, I'm just saying some evidence we've seen so far has shown that they were potentially strangled to death. Now, I'll keep you updated. Put a little asterisk there. I'm not saying they were strangled to death. I'm just saying that that's what the evidence is saying right now from what I'm seeing. And if there's an update, you know that we're going to be bringing you an update to correct the record. But despite the incidents that have happened, you know, the bombing and then the mother not being returned, the body of the mother not being returned, Hamas plans to proceed with the release of 6 Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Now, obviously, there have been some issues because Israel said they're not going to be releasing these Palestinian prisoners, which let's just acknowledge this for a second. Why is it that Israel always has to, they've got, for every step that Hamas takes to get closer to the table, they've got to take 10 steps to get closer. Why is it that for 6 Israeli hostages, we have to release hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners? We have to release terrorists, some really, really bad people they have to release. But and I totally do not, I understand why they're doing it, but I totally do not support what Israel's doing as far as, it's like, we want the hostages back, but I think there's got to be a better deal than releasing 400, 500, 600 Palestinian prisoners. It's basically a 1 to 100. For every one hostage that they release, we have to release they have to release 100 prisoners. And this body swap is just showing how fragile this ceasefire is, through efforts that, like this right here. They parade them on stage and make them thank their captors, which is absolutely sick. Just absolutely sick what they make them do. The Hamas claims that the Bibas brothers were killed by a bomb or a incoming missile that came from Israel. Obviously, we don't think that's true, but this is a very fragile agreement that they have right here. And the thing is what I think, as soon as we get our hostages out, I say screw the ceasefire, go in and absolutely flatten Gaza. Look, if there's people in Gaza who want to get out and they don't want, help them get out. Help them seek a new place in the world. They don't have to live under terrorist control. But if you support terrorists, committed terrorist activities, you're going to meet the full force of the Israeli government, is what I think. I think that they should get as many hostages as they can out and then go in and just wipe out Hamas. That's really how I feel about. Not saying that Israel is this great light on the shining light at the top of the hill. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying anybody's perfect. But in a binary sense between Hamas and Israel, it is very, very clear what side you have to be on here. Very, very clear. We're not on the side of strangling 4-year-olds and 10-month-year-olds to death. It's as simple as that. But that's going to wrap things up for today. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments about this. And as always, like, share, subscribe. Don't miss another video from us. We'll catch you next time.